Let me ask you something. Have you ever found that no matter how much you work or how much effort you put forth, you still end up getting stuck in the same old patterns or at the same level of wealth or the same weight or in the same old relationships? And this to you makes no sense because you're not lazy. You're not unaware and you're actually doing more than most of the average people are doing. So why are you still stuck? What if I told you that the belief that you have today is the very belief that got you every single thing that you ever wanted, but it is also the belief that is keeping you stuck? And until you see this and until you uncover it for yourself, you'll keep staying in the same old cycles. Those same bad habits that you've been trying to kick forever are going to keep showing up. And it is in recognizing this belief that is required to transcend all of those negative patterns, which is required to push through that ceiling of wealth, which is required to finally find that perfect partner. This is the belief that we have to break, and that's exactly what we're going to do in today's podcast. So this is something that I've experienced my whole entire life. Is I've been able to achieve pretty much everything that I've ever wanted to achieve my whole entire life, but there's been a few sticky points, and these are the sticky points that we are talking about today. So we're not talking about the goals that most people are achieving, and you've kind of achieved. I wouldn't say with ease, because it didn't really feel like ease to me. There were moments in my life where ease flowed in, and that was from really truly letting go of the thing that was holding me back, the anchor. Once I realized what that anchor was, it was like the boat was finally free, and then things like wealth began to flow into my life. But it did still have a ceiling, and the realization that has come to me recently is, I think, a big realization for everyone out there as well, because I know so many people are suffering from this one belief. But the funny thing about this belief is that this belief has actually got us to this point, but it is that very belief that is now holding us back. And what is that belief? I want to keep stringing you along here. The belief is that I am not enough. And the funny thing about this belief is that that's not how it shows up for us. It doesn't show up in this constant little voice saying you suck or you're not enough. And there is a little bit about that. But the way that I am not enough shows up for the people that are like me, and this is the way it showed up for me, so this is who I'm speaking to, is through the energy of I need to work harder, I need to do more, I need to sacrifice, I need to be better than the next guy, I need to push harder, I need to be more disciplined. That is how I am not enough shows up. And it is, if you start to pay attention to it, that voice, not the I am not enough voice. This was the product of the belief that I am not enough. This thinking is the product of the belief that I am not enough. And if you start to pay attention to the product of that belief, which is this thinking of do more, be more, work harder, sacrifice more, push harder, if you start to pay attention to how frequent that voice is in your head, you're going to realize that those messages are being told and repeated to you by the ego, by the mind, probably thousands and thousands of times a day. And now there's a reason why we can't transcend these things, because that little voice that told us we need to work harder, do more, push harder, is the very voice that got us to where we currently are. So we can see how we get trapped in holding on to this belief because it served us. And like I've seen this with so many of my clients over the years, is that the reason that they are not pushing beyond certain levels of happiness, certain levels of wealth, getting into good relationships, is because they're still using the same old tools. And this is something that I've done forever. And the two that have shown up for me, just to share a personal example, is like my health, which is like weight, and like bad habits like drinking too much Coke Zero and eating too many sweets. And then with wealth, it's like I've pushed through, I would say, like a very good barrier of wealth, but I haven't got to this place of wealth where I'm like, whoa, like wealth is like really, really here. Like it's a feeling like I got more money than I know what to do with. And so as I started doing the work to realize what I needed to push through, I realized I was stumbling upon something like really great for you as well. And it's because I think a lot of us, especially people that are drawn to this podcast, are holding on to this belief that they're not enough in some way, shape, or form. And now you probably have already done the work of where that belief maybe even started, in grade school, you were chosen second. You weren't the fastest kid, and so you felt like you were less than. You weren't the smartest kid. You felt like you were less than. You weren't the best looking kid. You felt like you were less than. And because of that, we start developing this belief that we are less than, that we are not good enough. And what does the mind do to get out of that feeling? The mind creates thoughts that will help you never feel that pain ever again. And so the pain of not being good enough, most of us are completely disconnected from it. We don't even know what it feels like. We don't even know what it feels like to be less than, because the mind has done such a great job through these programs of go work harder, go do more, go get into better shape, outwork everybody in the gym. All of those have been tools to not feel the pain of I am not enough. Where most people get stuck is actually in learning to feel what not good enough actually feels like, because we've blocked it out so well. So in this podcast, what I want to do is I want to give you a few ideas that I've been using that have been working really, really well for me to get me beyond these ceilings that I just keep hitting. And I think the important thing to recognize here is just pick the ones that are on repeat. Don't apply this to everything in your life, because the I am good enough, not good enough program and do more, be more is enough to get you to where you want to go in some areas in life. But eventually that very program becomes a limitation. So just pick the one or two things. So for me, I've been picking wealth and I've been picking the getting into shape. And what I'm realizing is the way that I need to transcend this thing is twofold. Well, threefold actually. The first thing that we need to do is we need to become aware of how I am not good enough is showing up. What is the language? And it's in the do more, be more, work harder stuff. So to start paying attention to that language. And when you start paying attention to that language, what you're going to find is it's happening quite frequently. Once you catch it, you can then connect it to, oh, this is all just a protection. This is all just what I've used my whole entire life to make sure that I don't feel this pain. You can connect it to those moments in your life where you felt like you were less than. One that comes up for me a lot is in comparison, especially as I get older. I see people that are, younger than me or my age that are achieving like crazy things. And I start to feel like not good enough. And instead of feeling that pain, I get to work and I gotta do more and I gotta work harder. But what I've been doing recently is noticing that little voice show up saying, go do more, turning towards the pain that comparison, is that what it is for me, stirs up in me, sitting in that pain, allowing myself to reconnect to what that pain actually feels like. And when you recognize it, it's like, it's not that big of a deal. You can handle it, but we've just been on autopilot. That pain shows up, we immediately go into our program of do more, be more. Instead of just going into that program that we have been doing unconsciously, then we say, let me just feel the pain. Let me feel what the pain feels like. We don't have to sit in this big, long letting go. You could go down that road too. You could do journaling sessions on it. You could sit in the pain in a meditation. All of that I think would work great. But just reconnecting yourself with the pain, allowing yourself to feel it. And then the third thing that we have to do is we have to begin praising ourselves. And I heard this, obviously you guys know I play a lot of golf. So I heard this in a golf analogy. It's like when you're on the golf course, you want to be your own caddy, right? And so if you were caddying for a pro and they hit a bad shot and they missed a green and they went in the bunker, you wouldn't say, you piece of shit, you're such a terrible golfer. Like, when are you ever going to learn? You've made this mistake a million times. You got to get to the practice range. Like, this would not be what you would say to the person that you're caddying for. What would you say as a caddy? You would say, hey man, no big deal. Miss a green, you're going to get up and down. No problem. You got this, right? And that's what you want to start being for yourself. Or maybe even taking it further. That was a clean strike. Just left the face open a little bit. No big deal. That means that we got another good shot coming. Let's go get up and down and make that par. That would be the way you would talk to a golfer that you're caddying for. And that's what you want to do for yourself, is you want to just start praising yourself. And so this is what I've been doing recently. And it's been like really, really great to start paying attention and becoming aware of how much pressure I was actually putting on myself to be this like amazing version of myself, to be this version of myself that beats everybody else. And just noticing how frequent it was, and recognizing the pressure that it was putting on me, and recognizing how that same mechanism that got me to where I want to go is not going to be the mechanism that's going to push me beyond into these next levels of success. And I'm talking about in all areas of life, not just in wealth. That do more, be more is not going to work anymore. And, it's like Einstein said this: you can't solve a problem from the same level of consciousness it was created, or you can't keep doing the same thing expecting different results. Whatever, quote you want to put in there, we all know this to be true. But the reason that we're refusing to let go of this beating ourselves up into doing more, being more, and all of this stuff is because it served us. And today is the day that I'm calling you out to say, like, hey, it's time to stop doing this. And when you do this, you're going to start realizing how terrible you've actually been to yourself, right? And it's all a mechanism to not feel the pain of not good enough. And so I have just been praising myself like crazy. So if I eat my protein shake in the morning, even though I had Taco Bell at lunch, I say, hey, good job on getting the protein shake done, right? If I exercise that day, I'm saying, hey, good job exercising. In wealth, the one that comes up for me a lot is the comparison one. It's like, you're on your own path. It's like, it'll all unfold for you. It's like, just keep doing what you're doing. Look at all the good that you've done already. Look at what you've created. And so I'm being my own caddy. And maybe that's what we could label this thing, is like, be your own caddy, be your own best friend, be your own parent, and start praising yourself. And this is literally like a fake it till you make it kind of thing, in a sense, because in the beginning, you may not feel like that praise is warranted because you're still not where you want to be in order to not feel good enough, even though that is a destination that does not exist. There is no amount of effort. There is no amount of wealth. There is no amount of partners that you're going to have where that feeling is going to go away. The only way to make that feeling go away is to recognize that it exists, to be okay in it, and then to replace it. We can make the decision to replace a program that we have been running our whole entire lives. And that decision comes with, first, the awareness that the unconscious program is there. And the second is just to start observing it and replacing it with something that we would deem to be more useful. The funny thing is that we are still in the belief that the work hard, do more is useful. And that is, I think, actually, now that I'm kind of like sitting here talking this thing out with you, is that is actually the thing that is the hardest part to transcend, is because this thing has served us, but it will not serve us to the next level. And I think if you can just have that awareness here by listening to this podcast, it's going to create a major shift. So we start praising ourselves. And one of the things I say, like, because I kind of coined myself back in the day as like the letting go coach, but I'm working on changing that title a little bit to, more of like a spiritual advisor. And one of the things that I realized when trying to help people let go is that most people have no clue what they actually have to let go of in order to transcend whatever it is that is not serving them. And this is a perfect example of that, because most people think they have to, change the habit. They have to, create a tighter schedule. They need to be more disciplined. These are the things that they need to let go of, eating late at night. That's how they're going to get into better shape. But that's not actually what needs to be let go of here. What needs to be let go of is all of the stuff that you've used that has served you into this point. And the true letting go is in the feeling and in the pain of I am not good enough. And that comes from sitting in that pain, recognizing that we are okay there, recognizing the programs that were born out of that pain, which is the do more, be more, and then choose to replace those programs with new programs that you consciously install, because those programs were installed unconsciously. So we want to install programs consciously, and the way we're going to do that is we're just going to be our own caddy. My good buddy Tony Smith, who runs a local gym here, he has a saying, do more, be more. And I was always like super resistant to that. And I've told him this openly, that I was resistant to that saying. And he later changed it to do more for others and be more for yourself. And I think this is the thing that I want to touch upon, is that I think that if we let go of that mechanism, the fear is that if we let go of that mechanism that got us to where we want to go, which is to push ourselves, that we are not going to get to where we want to go. But the actual reverse is true. This doesn't mean that we don't do things. We just don't do them from this energy of provingness. which is at like level of consciousness 175, which is like right at a very critical level, because when you move into 200 at courage, things really begin to shift. You go from force to flow. So you're right there. And that's why it served you. That's why it's got power. It's like anger's got power too, right? That's why it's got power, but that power is limited, and it can be wiped away very easily. And this is why I've said over and over again that willpower is not enough, right? We need to draw on a higher power to transcend the things that have been sticky for us. And that's what we're doing here. Willpower. This is an act of the will when you're trying to force your way to higher levels of income or getting into better shape or into better relationships. It's an act of will, and it always runs out, and that's why we experience this cycle. And in my buddy Tony's slogan there, do more, be more, it's like the universe supports growth. The universe wants us to grow and expand. And so we can do more and we can become more. So I don't want to dismiss what he said there, but I don't want it to come from this place of I need to do more and be more so that I can prove to the world that I'm good enough, right? What we actually want is to believe already that we are good enough. Really, truly believe that we are good enough. And we can find that in a million micro examples throughout our lives. We can start to search for where we are good enough, right? And if I'm just reflecting now on my own life, it's like, I'm a really good dad, And so it's like to recognize, like, in the dad category, I am like beyond good enough, right? I'm just reflecting on my own journey here. It's like, and this is what I want you to do for yourself, because you don't have to. I guess I said fake it till you make it, but now I'm realizing you don't have to fake it till you make it. It's like you can find areas of your life where you do an amazing job. Like every morning I wake up and I make my bed, like military wise. I just started doing that in the last 3 months or so. I'm like really good enough at making my bed. Okay. And I know that sounds silly, but if you can start to find these micro examples of where you're good enough, then what's going to end up happening is you're going to start to see more and more examples of where you're good enough, because what you've done, what the ego has forced you to do, is to focus on the bad so that you can never feel the pain that goes along with the bad. And it's like you focus on your failures so that you never have to feel the pain of failure again, and the motivation of that is to work harder. But if you begin to focus on the good, if you begin to focus on where you are good enough, then that feeling will expand. And this is the exact experience that I had with gratitude, right? And I've been doing this with abundance as well recently. It's like, because I want abundant wealth in my life. And I've been allowing myself to see where else in my life I'm abundant, right? And it's like, well, I'm abundant in technology. I'm sitting in this podcast room that my buddy Eric helped me set up. And it's like, I got these 2 great cameras. I got my MacBook. I got my computer. I'm abundant in technology to be able to spread the message that has helped me so much to other people, right? I'm abundant in love with my kids and my wife, right? I'm abundant with the cars that I drive. I drive really nice, nothing fancy, but really nice cars. I'm abundant in freedom. I got that. So I'm starting to see where I'm abundant. I'm starting to see where I'm good enough. And as a result of that, combined with paying attention to where I'm still trying to beat myself up into submission, or into doing more, I guess I should say, where I'm still pushing, and then recognizing that that's all a mechanism of protection, and transferring it to, you are good enough, right? Praising myself, being my own caddy, things are beginning to shift. And I'm recognizing that I can start shifting into a flow. And this is what's available for everybody. And there's a sense of knowing in me that, as I kind of like give you this message here, because I'm kind of just winging this here, but it's like there's a sense of knowing, and I think you're picking up on it as well, that you can't keep doing what you've been doing if you want to go to the next level, right? It is going to result in a massive shift of your identity, really. Because if you think about it, it's like you've been known as the hard worker. You've been known as the guy or girl that pushes, that's disciplined, that, does more than anybody else. And you're going to have to let that go to get to the next level. And you can see why you're so resistant to doing that, because that is your very identity. That is what has served you your whole entire life. But that is what is necessary to transcend. And I guess I'll leave you with this, because after people listen to a 20-minute podcast, they kind of like get lost in the message. if you're not being your own best friend, your own caddy, your own parent, if you are not constantly picking yourself up, you're trapped in the belief that you're not good enough. And the beating up mechanism has been the tool to escape that pain. But what we're calling out here today is that we no longer need to escape that pain. We can be okay in the pain of not good enough, and we can still go and do whatever the hell we want to do. We can create the most amazing life on earth, but it's not going to be using the same tools that we used up until this point, because those tools keep us limited. That is our anchor. And while we've been able to extend that chain and get us pretty far down the river, no matter what we do, the boat's not going any further because we're refusing to snap that anchor because it's gotten us so far down the river. But today is the calling to snap that anchor, to let go of the pain of I'm not good enough, to let go of do more, be more, and to begin praising yourself and begin noticing where you are good enough in your life, so you can begin to see how that energy will flow into all other areas of your life. Once you become the state, this is the secret to manifestation. Once you become the state, once you already have the feeling that you think you will get by going out and achieving the goal, by going out there and achieving the goal, once you become the feeling, the goal automatically aligns, your vibrations align. If you believed, how about that? If you believed you were good enough already, there would be no need to go out and prove that you were. And once you are aligned with that state, then everything that was once tied to that in the material world will come flowing into your life. And I've experienced this in other areas of my life, but just with these sticky ones. And I recognize now what it's all been tied to, which is I'm not good enough. And I've said that line over and over and over again, and it's never really stuck into recently. And so that's why I wanted to record this podcast and share with you and document it as it's kind of happening for me. So that's what I'll leave you with. I hope it served you. If you haven't already, just click that subscribe button, share it with a friend if you know that's also struggling with the I'm not good enough belief system that is keeping us all limited. Not all, but most of us limited. Thanks for taking the time to watch, and we'll see you again next week.